Oh, hey, I'm Tori. Welcome to Omega Red. This is the first video in a series that will teach you how to raise your own chickens so that you can enjoy the benefits of doing so. Yeah, that's right, benefits. By benefits, I of course mean the almighty egg. So I've been raising chickens for over 10 years now, and there's lots that I've learned over those years, but the most important thing for you to know right now is that if I can do it, you're not going to have any problem with it at all. So, get comfortable, let's get started. So eggs come from female chickens, just like Attila here. So Attila the hen and all her sisters can lay anywhere from 500 to 1,000 eggs over the course of their life. Why so much variability? It's a good question. Things like breed, lifespan, feed quality, and stress all play factors in egg production. So we're going to use 1,000 eggs because we have to have a starting point to get a feel for expectations. So 1,000 eggs is about 83 1 dozen cartons, which is by all measures. Hey, come on. Which is by all measures a pretty impressive feat. Why is that important? Because you need to understand that if you raise them right, take care of them right, that they're going to help take care of you over many years of laying. As you've surely noticed by now, chickens are quite adept at speaking their minds and do so whenever the urge arises. So let's find a quieter spot and dig into some details. Okay, so starting off on this journey means understanding all the steps that are needed along the way. And the first step is to educate yourself on chickens so that you can determine what they deliver relative to your needs and limitations and start putting things into motion. So first things first, we're going to start with two specific items that are of critical importance right now, and both are related to time. Number one is chicken development. On average, it takes about 6 months for a pullet to start laying eggs. What's a pullet? A pullet is what they call a female chicken who is in her first year of life. Apparently, they can be called hens only after their first year, but they have to earn it. So don't make the mistake like I did of calling a pullet a hen if your coop is populated with both, because it'll trigger a turf war. You have to earn the hen moniker in a coop, apparently. Right, ladies? Whoa, easy. Initially, when a pullet starts laying the eggs, will be on the small side. Maybe a little wonky looking, and she will lay eggs every 3 or 4 days for a short while. So if she starts laying at 24 weeks, by the time she hits 30 weeks, she will be a seasoned rookie and start laying eggs that are standard size, and she will give you 2 eggs every 3 days, give or take. A good hen will lay over the course of her first year about 20 dozen eggs. As she ages, there are more changes to expect, but that's a topic for a future video. So again, if you started your flock today and begin raising them from chicks to a laying pullet, you're looking at about 6 months until they start laying eggs. And that's one reason you need to put things into motion now. The second consideration is chick availability. As I make this video, I attempted to source some chicks from a national distributor in Iowa, but was seeing ship dates of April through June for the breeds I wanted. Is this type of delay normal? Not based on my experience, it's not. That tells me higher demand is likely coming from 2 places. The commercial industry looking to refill laying stocks impacted by the response to the bird flu. And secondly, more people like you and I wanting to raise our own chickens so we can control our own egg destiny. I ended up reaching out to some local hatcheries in Michigan and was happy to find availability as soon as middle of February, so I got lucky with that. I couldn't get all the breeds that I wanted, but that's not unusual. Local providers in your region may be seeing less demand pressure, and you're going to have to research that and check for yourself, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Another option you have is for local pickup from stores that cater to rural life. Examples being like Tractor Supply Company, Rural King, and even local feed stores, hatch chickens. There's a great option. This is a great option to use, but there are some limitations with it. They typically provide breeds that would be common to your area, so if you were looking for something specific or exotic, you may not find it available locally. Also, if everyone else is struggling with supply, they may also find it difficult to keep local stock. This option to me, though, is the best one, but you had better start checking availability immediately and plan to get there in person to get what you need as soon as it's available. So I hope you see my point. If you're able to start raising chicks tomorrow, you're looking at 6 months before you're getting any eggs. Add any availability delays from the hatcheries to that, Easy. And you're going to be pushing your first egg date back even further. So, considering the time sensitivity concerns, what are the critical items you need to know right now to order your chicks? Number one is the breed of chicken. There's a lot of different breeds to choose from, and the primary concern that will dictate your choice in selecting a breed is their hardiness to your specific environment. If you live in cold regions like the Midwest, Northeast, the Plains, you're going to want a breed that can handle the cold weather. Larger frame chickens with smaller compact combs are traits that cold weather chickens have. A few breed examples would be the Barred Rocks, Dominiques, Orpingtons, Rhode Island Reds, New Hampshire Reds, Jersey Giants. You can still get smaller frame chickens like the Leghorn, but you will need to monitor them so they don't experience any frostbite on their combs. Warmer areas can get away with this smaller framed bird, which are more adept at dealing with the hotter weather. They have the more traditional single combs that jut up from the top of their head that kind of look like a hand. Examples of this breed typically come from the Mediterranean area and include Leghorns, Minorca, and Ancona. One last item on breeds. Most of us are familiar with the standard sized chicken breeds, about the size of a small dog. There is another subset of the chicken family called a bantam, and it's significantly smaller than a standard breed chicken. If you're space limited but still want chickens, the bantams may be better suited to your space limitations. One note though, smaller hens equal smaller egg sizes. Here's a comparison so you know what to expect. And we'll get into more of this shortly. So one last note on breeds. I'm going to give you my personal experience on this. Over the course of 10 years that I've been raising chickens, I've tried many breeds and had mixed results. Not so much with egg production, but more with personality traits based on the breed. I have found that the larger brown egg-laying breeds seem more relaxed, more chill. The roosters seldom give me any trouble, and the hens are calm enough that they let you pick them up if they're in the mood. This would include breeds like Dominiques, Orpingtons, the Reds I mentioned before, Jersey Giants, Barred Rocks. They act almost like dogs in some cases. They'll run up to the fence and greet you, or if you come into the coop door, they're right up under your feet. So they're pretty relaxed around your presence. The standard breeds that lay white eggs, they seem a bit more skittish and I guess I'd call it high-strung. The Leghorn roosters I had were absolute pricks, giving me a solid spur smack if I ever turned my back to them, making a trip to the coop akin to a bowling alley brawl. The hens were chill by comparison to the roosters, but they were still finicky and you could never pick one up. That said, though, the Leghorns lay more eggs with less food than any other breed that I'm aware of. There's a reason the commercial industry uses them. So maybe my experiences are unique. Maybe I just had a batch of ill-tempered Leghorns. I don't know. But given my experience, I'd recommend the brown egg layers as they just seem to be more pleasant to be around, which is important, especially if you're going to have kids involved in raising your chickens. If you're experienced with chickens, please share your breed opinions in the comments section. I'd love to hear if my experiences are unique, and also you may have information that helps other people decide on what breed may be best for them. So I appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, so the next item after breed is egg color preferences. Different breeds lay different colored eggs. The most common are white and brown, but other breeds lay green or blue colored eggs, and some even lay like speckled eggs, I've heard. I've never done that myself. What dictates the eggshell color? This shell color is a function of the breed's genetics and appears to be tied to the hen's ear color. If the ear is white, you'll get white eggs, and if it's red, you'll get brown eggs. You don't need to figure any of this out by yourself, though. The hatchery's websites will offer breed information based on egg color, and the breed description always references the egg color that the hen lays. Are there any differences in eggs based on their shell color? No. Nutritionally, both brown and white eggs are identical, so there's no difference. I've got a mix of brown and white egg layers and can taste no difference whatsoever between the two types of eggs. The only difference you will notice, though, has nothing to do with the shell color, but more to do with the freshness of the eggs. Not sure if you're aware of this, but by the time you've purchased your eggs from the grocery store, they can be up to 8 weeks old. Fresh yolks are typically much more orange than they are yellow. Home-raised eggs can be eaten immediately, and the difference in the freshness will be obvious to you. I just wanted to warn you, since I still recall my first batch of scrambled eggs that were farm fresh, the orangeness of the yolks freaked me out and made me suspicious that I screwed something up. Turns out that's completely normal. I just wasn't aware of it, so thought I'd pass that on to you. Okay, so the next item is space requirements, and this is an important one. You'll need to consider the space needed for your flock size when it's full grown. Typically, the size of your coop will be the limiting factor. The coop is where your chickens spend their time when they're not outside. Typically, this will just be at night, but when winter hits in the Midwest, coops become a much more busy place because the chickens stay close to home when there's snow on the ground or the wind's really bad. So therefore, they require access to the coop, and it needs to be large enough to accommodate the flock size. Fully grown chickens require a certain amount of square footage per bird. Consider this when calculating how many chickens you want versus how many you can support for your available space. The numbers I'm about to reference are per bird. So the bantam breeds, the much smallest chicken breed, requires about 2 square feet of coop space and 4 square feet of run space. The run is basically if you have an enclosure that takes them out of the coop and out into the yard. We'll get into those details later. A standard breed chicken requires about 4 square feet of coop space per bird and 8 square feet of run space. A heavy breed, standard heavy breed chicken requires 8 square feet of coop space and about 15 of run space. And a final note on space requirements. Be honest with your available space. If you pack the chickens into too small a place, they will be stressed out, and stressed hens don't lay very well. Your goal is to keep them content and happy so they can do their job of being a chicken. Okay, so the question I think that's most universal outside of the eggshell color thing is, do you need a rooster? The simple answer to that question is no, you do not. Your hens are going to lay eggs with or without a rooster. A rooster's job in nature is to mate with the hens and fertilize the eggs before they are laid. And don't worry, you can eat either type of eggs as long as they are fresh. Otherwise, a rooster's job is to protect that flock. Your specific needs will dictate whether you get one or not. If it were up to me, I would always have at least one rooster. They are absolutely fearless when it comes to protecting the flock, and their entertainment value is hard to put a price on. About protection, I once witnessed 2 of my roosters take on an eagle that was trying to take a turkey out of our pasture. If you've never seen an eagle up close, trust me, their size is rather intimidating. And those 2 roosters were just very bold and went out and aggressively fought the thing off. It's nuts. Yet they somehow made it through it with just a few scratches and definitely saved Thanksgiving that year. But oh my God, they would not shut up about it. We just kept bragging about it after the fact. So if you're in a densely populated area, like a subdivision or a city, you have noise considerations to contend with, and you will need to research your local ordinances to save yourself trouble down the road. Why? Because roosters crow. They don't just crow in the morning. They crow whenever the Sam hell they want to. Sometimes my roosters crow in the middle of the night, and I have no idea why. Also, hens aren't nearly as loud as roosters, but they're not exactly whisper quiet either, as I'm sure you've been able to assess over the course of this video. So please ensure you understand your local limitations to noise. So if you're finding this information helpful, please take a moment, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us to grow and continue to make this type of content. Thank you. How many pullets hens do I need? This is answered by your availability of space I mentioned previously, and also how many eggs you would like to have. Be honest about available space though. If you order chickens based on your desired egg output, and the space is too small, you'll be spending more money on feed and getting less eggs because they don't lay as well when they're stressed out. So be very honest with the available space that you have. So initial costs. Although it's a detailed topic for the next video, I want to give you a loose expectation for equipment costs needed to raise your chicks so that at least you have a basic understanding that a little bit more money is going to be involved instead of just what it costs to buy the chicks. So you're going to need a simple enclosure to keep the chicks safe, warm, and dry. This is typically indoors, and it's got to be sealed from wind, drafts, and predators. This area will also need access to electricity. I'm going to assume that you already have something available to you. If you don't, no worries. We will review options in the next video, but keep in mind that it can be something as simple as a large cardboard cardboard box or plastic storage bin. So the next item, you're going to need something for water, and these little containers typically go for about $10. Same goes for a feeder. You're going to need a little plastic one for about $10. High protein feed, these come in a litany of sizes, but I'm just going to reference a 50-pound bag, which is typically in the $20 to $25 range. And then a heat lamp with some extra bulbs is about $25 as well. And lastly, you've got bedding, which is like shredded up pine shavings. And they typically go for about $6 to $7 a bag, and it's a big compressed bag. So this list is just a brief summary of what you can expect for costs to get started. These are based on current costs in Michigan, and your area may be completely different than mine, so good luck with that. We'll go over the specific details of equipment needs in the next video. Okay, so there you have it. If you want to control your own egg destiny, then you had better move quickly to get things in motion. Getting ahead of potential delays is of critical importance right now. So, summarizing, you need to answer the following questions. What breed will you order? Are they hardy enough for your location? Egg color preferences. If you care, this might influence your breed decision. Space availability. Use the square footage guidelines based on breed size to keep them stress-free. How many to order? How much space you have relative to how many eggs a hen can lay to how many you want? And then are you going to get a rooster? And then you have a rough idea on initial cost, so can you afford it? But keep in mind as well what you're paying at the grocery store if you don't run into any supply issues, which means that you can't get access to them at all. So to me, that would be the big one. I'd want to just not have to worry about if they're even available. So if you're going to do this, please visit a hatchery website to learn more about the breeds that may interest you, as well as understand the timing to get the chicks. I've included a few links below to get you started. And just to be clear, I have no affiliation with any of these businesses. So we're going to be posting additional videos on this topic in the coming days. So stay tuned. If this is your introduction to raising chickens, then it may interest you to know that we will be getting chicks the third week of February and showing you firsthand how we raise ours. If you're on the fence about raising your own chickens, hopefully you will find this information helpful and put your mind to rest so that you too can raise your own. It really is pretty straightforward and quite enjoyable. So if this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, the links are below for the hatcheries and where you can educate yourself on breeds. Oh, come on! Any questions or concerns, hit me up in the comments sections. Thanks, and see you next time. You know, your timing's impeccable.